So the first question, it seems that this year, cinema and series TV have discovered many affinities in the union of teenagers and death. I think about Bo Beach, the series, and now Darby and the Death. So why for you? What is the reason? And maybe seeing teenagers talk about death can help to exercise and laugh about it in a better way.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I grew up in the early 90s coming out as a queer person, trans person, and there was the AIDS and pandemic was happening. And so it was a lot of, I kind of grew up around a lot of death and a lot of humor, and it kind of helped deal with the pain of loss. I feel like maybe today it's happening more. I feel like the kids are dealing with a lot more. They're dealing with a lot of information about the planet and unfortunately violence at schools because of these really difficult situations, but also just anybody deals with loss. You might lose a parent very young, you might lose a best friend. Like that really, it doesn't just happen when you're old. And I think we just don't, in this country anyway, we don't talk about it. And humor is such a great way to talk about the unthinkable, because when you laugh, you bond, and otherwise it can be very isolating to be in grief. And so I feel like this movie is about connecting through something very painful, and that all those painful things can be the ways that we actually find joy in the world, ironically.
And the film also talks about the importance of completing our journey on Earth. Even the protagonist looking death in the face, in this case with her friend / enemy, and she rediscovered things that she had lost. So how many starting points can death represent for the protagonist, for us, and for you as director of this film?
Yeah, well, I think we talked a lot about death being a metaphor in the movie, so that for some, death could be a loss of a relationship or empty nest syndrome, a child moving from home, or literal death, and thinking of it as a transition, thinking of it as it's life, and it's a part of life. It's just a part of life that we have no control. We can't stop it from happening. So, and I do think that we keep people alive by remembering them. So what Darby's doing in terms of acknowledging the grief she had about her mom going, there was sort of closure, which doesn't mean she's not going to think about her. It's really that there's this way that we carry people with us. And I think we just don't have enough roadmaps for how to handle loss, especially if you lose someone at a young age. It's really difficult to know how to handle that. Yeah.
In the film, there are the two protagonists, but you have been able to give a personality to each character. And also the film mixes the atmosphere of the classic teen movie and a very inclusive contemporaneity. So how does these two aspects fit together in your film?
Yeah, we really intentionally wanted to pay homage to Clueless or Mean Girls, but make it reflect the world that we are in today, which is a fairly inclusive world, and there's a much more visibility. And so, but I feel like even the clothes that she gets from her mom, the lead character in the film, when she recycles or upcycles them, is from the 90s, because she's repurposing them for her new makeover. So the fabric, literally, in the fashion, we're paying homage to the 90s, but we're paying homage to the structure of the high school, but making them hopefully fresh. We're doing, there's nobody body shaming the other characters, or they're just more creative in how they're being mean. There's just more, I think, originality, and everybody, gets to have their own sort of lens on things, because it's not an all white cast. And I think that is exciting to, it's always, I grew up watching movies that I didn't see myself reflected in, but if it's a good movie, I connect. And so I think for anybody, this movie would hopefully, they would get to connect to, because it's at its core just a solid story.
And they're so funny. Each character is very funny. So thank you. We finished this interview, but I have just a last flash question. It's better a funeral or a big party in your honor for the last farewell?
Oh, is it better to
cry or laugh? Because I won't cry.
You won't cry?
Yeah.
I want
people have to cry.
I want the party. I want them to laugh. I want them to laugh. I want to put the fun back in funeral. But I understand the tears. Yeah, that's
Thank
quite.
you. I know you can understand. Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.